Welcome to the Unleashed Life, a financial empowerment and lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Renée Baker. After nearly 3 decades in corporate America, I took a leap of faith to pursue full-time entrepreneurship, realizing that while we can always get another title, we don't get another chance to create the life we truly desire. In each episode, we'll explore what it truly means to live unleashed, going beyond traditional finance advice to help you break free from financial constraints and societal expectations, cultivate a mindset of abundance and possibility, align your financial decisions with your personal values and lifestyle goals, and embrace authenticity in both your career and personal life. Whether you are seeking financial wisdom, entrepreneurial insights, or inspiration to live boldly, you're in the right place. Redefine success on your terms and join a community of women who refuse to dim their light. It is time to live the unleashed life. Welcome to the Unleashed Life, Natalie.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I have to tell you, you have such a remarkable story. You started, I don't have to tell you, you know, but but you started as the Tampa's tax lady.
Tampa Bay's tax lady.
And I love that. And now you have rebranded, you're the money lady. And I love your story. It really inspires people who want to dream big and act boldly.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about you and tell us about Natalie Freeman.
Okay. And before I do, just want to say thank you again, Dr. Renée, for having me on. Again, just you being, the upper echelon in the financial industry, again, just as a Black woman, you are a mentor, you are a friend. And so I do appreciate you just for having me on, just to tell my story. But I'm Natalie. What can I say? I'm a native Floridian, just one who loves people and just one who lives to inspire. I Tampa Bay's tax lady turned money lady. That was a dream birthed through other people's prompting and longing. They saw something in me and we moved forward in it. Did it have its challenges? Listen, the book, one day you will know it did. But just seeing my clients succeed by putting together systems to start a sustainable business. And then they made some money from it. I was like, okay, we're doing something. Then they were like, well, what are we going to do with the money? So, we had to come up with a plan for the money. Thus, me becoming Tampa Bay's tax lady turned money lady. But in that transformation, I began to transform to find out who I was and where I wanted to be. So here I am.
Hey.
Natalie Freeman, native Floridian. Living life out loud.
I love that. And I love that you had this story about really believing in yourself and going for it.
Absolutely.
Unapologetically.
Absolutely.
And fabulously. Let's just be clear.
Hi.
Some of you are listening. I can see. But you've made several really bold career moves. You went from, left a stable job. You went then to starting your own firm. And now as a financial advisor, you're talking about the transformation that you have with your clients. But a lot of times people are so afraid.
Absolutely.
And they get stuck.
Yes.
And how can they unleash? I mean, what would you tell someone that's just stuck and afraid to make a big change?
Wow. Dr. Renée, life is scary.
Right.
Every day we have to get up and make decisions about who we want to be, whether we like our job, or we're going to do a good job, bad job, or we're going to show up for the job. But I feel like it's really important to have a vision.
Right.
Proverbs 29:18 says, without the vision, people perish. And I think every day we're perishing. When you're not living, you're dying.
Amen.
And so it's really important that we see the vision. I think you spoke of it in your intro. When I was a little girl, I was sitting under a tree and I saw myself. I was writing something and I just saw myself as a boss. I saw myself starting businesses and going places. And I think it's important as life happens, because life will happen, that you keep your vision to your core, in your heart, in your soul, And it's always going to come a time where you're going to have to make a decision.
Right.
Are you going to remain unsatisfied? Because there's times that we just kind of go along to get along. And then we wake up one day and be like, what happened? I'm unsatisfied.
Right.
If your fear is greater than your dissatisfaction, you will remain stuck.
Amen to that.
But if your dissatisfaction overrides your fear, you're going to make a move and you're going to figure it out. And that can come in so many different ways for different people, asking other people, modeling after somebody great. But it's that key, allowing that dissatisfaction to be greater than the fear.
Yeah, back in the day, my grandfather used to say, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired,
that's it.
You make a decision like, are you going to stay and sit in it, or are you going to do something about it? Because I don't know about the people listening, but I know based on the decisions that we've made, we're not sitting in our stuff. We're going to do something about it, because the dissatisfaction to me is heavier than the fear.
Yes.
And regrets is the worst.
It's the worst.
And life is going to happen in spite of us, whether we participate or not.
Right. It's going to keep rolling.
So we got to make a move. Mm-hmm. So what you would say is get up and get out, do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a specific strategy, right? Because you're going to have self-doubt, right? Mm-hmm. And you can make a move, but oftentimes we'll have situations where we need to make a move and we have self-doubt. Some people call it imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. But when you're making that transition to entrepreneurship, I know what I did. It's scary.
It's scary.
It's so scary.
I was going to say another word, but it's scary. You want to throw up.
Yeah, like scary. It's a bold move, and you're stepping out, not even a little, I'd say you're stepping a lot of faith. But what is a strategy that you employ that other listeners can hear to apply in their own lives about overcoming that self-doubt?
It's really important that you know you and like you.
Can you say that last part again?
It's very important that you know you and like you, because there are going to be days when the doubt is screaming louder than anything around you.
That is so true.
Which is, again, going back to the vision, why that vision is so important. Because you've got to be able to see it, eat it, sleep it, believe it, to behave it. My pastor used to say, if you believe it right, you'll behave it right. That's a whole nother
I like
sermon.
That. Believe it, anyway, behave it. I like that.
But more than that, you've got to change your environment. That's my strategy, honestly, to get over doubt. Move away from, because we like to say birds of a feather flock together. But at the end of the day, when you know you, do you want to really be around other doubters?
Right.
Other people that are just wallowing in self-pity? No, you're going to have to find eagles to be around, because they're going to inspire you to move. You know, that's why I'm looking at your podcast and going down your feed and just other people, you know, in the city that I truly admire. And then I insert myself in their space. And people are like, well, that's scary too. I understand. But again, when you're tired of being sick and tired, you'll do something different. So I've surrounded myself around leaders and I ask questions. I allow them to tell me what they see in me. I had mentors. That's how I got started. My mentor started passing out my business cards. That's how my business started. Powerful. True story. Good shout out to Brian and Maureen Butler of Vistra Communications.
Oh, yeah, we love them.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Yes, we
do. They
do.
helped me draw out my whole life on a napkin one day. And they're like, okay, take this napkin and run. And, you know, they're like, okay, I will. Maybe next year when I get more money, when my relationship with my husband is better, all these things, you know, when I get to the next tier of, you know, promotion, they start passing out my business cards.
Oh, they're going to take action if it was going to happen.
Like, just call her. I start getting these phone calls. It's like, they said, you know, you can set up our books and stuff. But I think mentorship is very powerful because somebody who is not intimidated by you, they've already been where you're going, they see further usually than you'll ever see in those beginning stages. and they see the vision.
Right.
And then they help you set up for success by encouraging you, being honest with you.
And I think, the honesty.
You got to be ready.
They
It's not for the faint of heart.
Not at all.
You know, however, it's helpful when people
Right.
can say, you know, straighten up. You need to go back to school. You know, they came in with 3 degrees. What you bringing to the table? You know, it's all things to push you to make you better, though. But that's the secret. Get around other people who are going somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's better than the comfort zone, right? You don't want to sit in the comfort zone. And you said, get up and move. You don't want to, birds of a feather don't have, you soaring with eagles, or you going to hang out with some pigeons?
Right.
Right? Like,
or a chicken.
What kind of bird we trying to be right now?
Because if we're honest with ourselves in that beginning stage, we don't know. We're unpolished.
Right.
You know? And how do you get polished? You got to rub up against something else. There has to be some kind of friction.
Yes.
There has to be, some movement, And that's where it starts. Allow yourself to be open to something different.
I love that. And if there's someone out here right now that is at a crossroads, who needs to make a decision, who has fear, has a dream, and may need to find a mentor, find someone that's already doing what it is that you want to do, and recognize that you have to get started to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can sit where you're going to sit. Life is going to pass you by. You're going to wake up one day, and life is going to pass you by. But we have to start from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Now, in your story, you've shared that you made only $8,000 in your first year of business, right? So you were making all this money. You made $8,000. But what kept you going? Because others need to learn, because that's persistence. Because some people would give up. You're like, $8,000? Like, but I heard you also say, like, you know what? But I made $8,000.
Right.
So it's perspective.
Come on now. I mean, it is very much perspective. I mean, and so one of the things I tell people when they bring me in to speak into entrepreneurs or people who have an idea, listen, first of all, make sure you have the money to start a business, or a plan to get the capital that you need to get this business off the ground. So I did make $8,000. That is a very true story. My first year in business, but I was still working full time at the University of South Florida as a controller for auxiliary services. And I worked 3 years while simultaneously building the business before I left. Right. So I tell people, you got to know when to leap, and it's not going to ever be comfortable.
No,
but you've got to know. So I didn't care if I made $8,000, $2,000, $1,000, $1.
You made money.
I made money. And that's what was so exciting about it. I'm an optimistic realist. And so I was like, oh my goodness, somebody paid me for something. They took my advice, they valued it, and it worked. That was the encouragement, not the dollar figure.
Because you can look at that number and be like, okay, so many people would give up in year one.
Right.
And we know.
And so many people do give up in year one.
That's the number one.
Yes.
The first year is the toughest year in most things.
Yeah, in most things.
First year of college.
Yes.
First year of marriage. First year of entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
And. But I like your approach. You say, but I made. Because you did, it wasn't an end. It was a beginning.
It was a beginning.
And
that's where the realistic expectations come in. Your first year of business, your first year of marriage, you don't know them. They don't know you. You don't know yourself.
Listen.
It's the same with business. You don't know your business strategy. You don't know what your opportunities and threats are.
And you can think
don't know
that you do until you're in it.
Right.
And I mean, from experience, the first year you're like, I have a business, I'm a founder, I'm a CEO. And then you wake up and then all kind of SWATs are coming at you.
Right.
What's this? Well, more WATs than SWATs, because you're like, what are these weaknesses and these threats? But in the middle, there's so much opportunity.
Absolutely.
But you have to be in it.
Absolutely. You want to grow up, you start a business.
Yeah. Oh, I say that my education, all of my years of education, all of my years in corporate experience, nothing has educated me more than being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
my goodness. I feel like I was like, who was I?
Before.
Who was I? Everybody should be an entrepreneur.
And you were somebody. Now,
Yeah,
don't get it twisted, y'all. Read her bio.
What?
But when you become an entrepreneur, it's a
different animal or a different beast. So, but you made this money, and as a financial advisor, you're helping people making a plan on their lives.
Yes.
So slight pivot, but not really. So you made that $8,000 for your first year of business. Nevertheless, you persisted.
That's right.
And today, as a financial advisor, you're helping people take those steps to live financially empowered.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us about that. What are you helping people, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're in a corporate space? How do you take that seed and grow it? What can you share?
Oh my goodness, so many things, right? What can I share? How do you take a seed and grow it? Time, belief, and consistency.
I don't think they heard you, Natalie. I don't think they heard you because they think that none of those things matter. Can you say that again for the people in the back?
Oh my goodness. Time, belief, and consistency.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. So a lot of times we all want to come in and make $1 million tomorrow.
Right. Well, you can. I mean, on TikTok, I saw a video that you can make.
And that's what they bring me. Like, look at this TikTok video. They haven't looked at legal implications, tax implications, or really how long this TikTok influencer has been doing.
Are they making $1 million off of this idea of selling you $1 million?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because they got a book, a seminar, so they're making money. But the time and consistency. But a lot of times, though, I tell people most of the time, do something today. That's always my challenge when I'm looking across that table after we've come up with this grand financial plan, after I've looked at assets and liabilities, debt to income ratios, risk tolerances, yada, yada. Do something today. And I ask them, what is going to be the something? Mm-hmm. It's either pick one debt that you want to eliminate. Mm-hmm. Pick an amount that you want to start saving today. Pick one position, stock, bond, ETF, whatever, and do it and make a commitment to do it consistently. So always do something today.
Do something today. So but it all gets down to making a decision.
Yes.
An ETF, exchange traded fund, for those out there wondering. But make a decision. And that's something that anybody can do.
Yes.
That's
anybody.
That's an equalizer. We can all make a decision. We just have to make a decision.
Yes. Time,
consistency,
and belief.
And those are available to all of us.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
When you think about that, oftentimes we get so caught up into the things that we can't do.
Yes.
And we will come up with reasons why we can't do it. How do you encourage people to execute on that decision? Because I'm sure you have clients who walk out of that office with the intention, but then you see them in a month and then they are right back at it.
Mm-hmm. Meeting people where they are is very important. You cannot dismiss fears. You cannot dismiss upbringings. You cannot dismiss mindsets about saving or spending. If they were impacted by the stock market crash of 29, I need to know that.
Right.
And they're not going to tell you, girl, the stock market crashed in 1929. It's 2024, but it makes never mind. Right. That's still a significant occurrence and it impacted me. They're not going to just come out and tell you. So building relationship with people.
Right.
allowing them to be human, allowing people to be scared, and affirming them, encouraging them, acknowledging where they are is usually something that will help people be okay with where they are today.
Right.
I acknowledge that they're afraid, and it's okay
And it's
to be
okay.
afraid.
Yeah, it's okay.
You know, it's okay to make a mistake, even in the stock market, or even, and so we'll take a baby step.
Right.
I won't ask them for the $1 million today. I'll ask them for the $500,000 today.
Yeah. Like, when they get to the million, like baby steps. But I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. But you're
it's
helping
definitely
them.
Baby steps, and it's really through building relationship. As you know, this business, most businesses, are not because you bake the best cakes.
No.
In the bay. It's not because you hit that ball at 130 miles an hour. It's because you have made an impact on people because you can connect with them.
That's correct.
And when I connect, they listen. When they listen, they ponder. I may challenge them, but eventually in time, they trust.
Right.
And then they'll move.
Yeah, that trust factor and cultivating those relationships. And even in finance, I know there's a lot of misconceptions about finance, but at the end of the day, it's a people's business.
Absolutely.
Your work is very much relationship driven.
Absolutely.
And it's money. So that evokes so much emotion.
What?
So that trust is there. I mean,
come on, y'all.
This
is and let me break it down for you. As a financial advisor, I manage people's life savings.
Mm-hmm.
Their hard-earned dollars at work. That's one, it's surreal and it's humbling. And I do appreciate you for that. But it's your money, you ask me what my goals are. You ask me what my fears are. You can look at my checkbook.
Right. That's
my bad habits, my good habits. It tells the story, right? So so I have to understand that about people. And then they have to understand that I have their best interests at heart.
Yeah. And that's why, for those that are listening, that's why advisors, they get in there. They want to understand and get to know you so they can meet you where you're at, so they can help you work through it.
They do.
Which is very important in that journey of one, trust and building that trust and that relatability. But all the work that we do, a little bit of a pivot, because all the work that you do for others, we're still, life is lifing for us, right? Ooh. Life is lifing for you. Life is lifing for me. And you're going to have professional challenges while you're pursuing your professional goals. Absolutely. Just like people are going to have their challenges while they're pursuing their money goals and their mission.
Absolutely.
How do you balance that? Because you told a little bit about your story. Life is lifing for you. You have these professional challenges. You have these goals that you want to accomplish. How do you balance that? Personal challenges, professional ambitions.
Live your life. Live your life out loud. Give yourself permission to feel all the feels, to have a bad day, to even be vulnerable. Sometimes that's including to your clients. Because we're all human.
We are human, no matter
Everybody's lost a deal, lost an ideal client. Somebody in your family, got sick or passed away. We've all experienced that. So give yourself permission to be that person that day. When I made a decision to transition into the financial industry, y'all don't know. Okay, you got to get ready to be ready. There are designations that you have to obtain. There's a tests and exams that we have to, licensing that we have to get. And when I was onboarding and obtaining my licenses, my dad was sick.
Oh,
my dad had a stroke Labor Day of 2019, and he never came home. He was in the hospital while I was studying for my Series 7.
And the Series 7 exam is a beast.
My goodness.
A beast.
I still remember it.
Yes, and you don't want to take it twice.
And so I'm trying to balance caring for my dad, checking on my dad, and studying for this exam to pass.
It's tough.
I also was getting a house built. I don't know why I was trying to do all this
Are you
life
just
transition,
going for it?
y'all.
You just
I
like,
was trying to get
we're
a
in
new
it.
job. I'm
Let's
like,
just
I'm just
be
gonna
in
jump
it.
all in
Through the
feet
fire.
first. I was getting this home built, and you never close, y'all, when you close until you close.
But you were getting a house built, so then you still are dealing with that process. It's hard
Which
enough
is
on its own. But you're getting it
right.
built and life
I'm
is
getting it built and
lifing.
life is lifing. We had to move 7 times
7 times in which time frame?
from November 2019 to March 2020.
7?
7 times.
Oh my goodness.
Read
That's
the book. Read the book.
Yeah,
You get
that
the
was like,
details.
this is
It
going to be
wasn't
a
on
book.
me. It was the builders, and they just
Yeah.
kept changing the time frame. All in all, y'all, I still had to life. I still had to be a parent. I still had to find a safe environment for my child to stay. I still had to meet the mandates, and the stipulations of studying because
Right. That's
they had
tough.
already hired me. I'd already signed on the dotted line. You will pass
Oh,
that
you
test.
will pass that test. You just, you made
And
the
so
leap.
things are going on. And I share that with people. Now you
Mhm.
have to use discretion, knowing when to share what
Yeah,
with
that
whom.
is true.
But I shared that. I shared that with my clients. This is what we're going through. And then again, it helps you build connection
Right.
with your clients, with your friends, with your family, and it helps them appreciate you more.
Yeah, and it humanizes you because, people just will see you as the advisor and you're looking for a way to bridge that gap and to make that connection.
Absolutely.
But life was life, and unfortunately you got in just before the pandemic happened. My goodness. So another silver lining?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
another silver lining.
Absolutely.
So just getting to understand, who you are and to keep going.
Yes.
And that resilience and that persistence and just pushing through it. I'm really excited because you also have a podcast.
Yes.
And I love the title of your podcast. Successful but Single. And that challenges just the societal norms, is what we talk about here also in the Unleashed Life. But for those listening, what are some of the things that people can do to break free? I love this whole idea of just breaking free from societal expectations so that you can live what you say, you live out loud. And oftentimes we get so caught up into what people think we should be, but people who love us want us to be safe, and people will put their own experiences on us. So what do you say to the folks that are listening? What's one way that the listeners can break free from societal expectations in their own lives to live out loud?
Wow, loaded question. Good question. Break free. Successful but Single podcast was birthed during the pandemic because we were all home and just trying to figure out what we're going to do with our lives and if we were going to die. And it was kind of a play on words because successful but single, yes, it's because I was now unmarried, but it was also because now I had gone through so many life experiences that I was now standing whole independently.
Wow. Okay.
And so the impetus of the podcast is to show people that no matter where you are in life, you can be okay. Even in your marriage, you still have to learn how to be single, independent, whole. So how do you live this unleashed life? How do you break free of societal norms? Heal. Be whole.
Yes.
Be okay with saying that year wasn't a good year. This marriage was a great marriage, but I wasn't in the best place to sustain a spouse.
Right.
Be okay to be who you are and then do the work to be your best you. And I know we say that and that's a cliche, but again, going back to that vision, asking the creator who I am and living that life is going to be your best life.
Right.
We're walking around unsatisfied and y'all, I'm going to cross a line because we allow ourselves to put labels on ourselves that we want. Right. And we're still unsatisfied. And you got to ask yourself why. Are you living according to the blueprint that was given by your creator? The creator or the master knows the purpose of the masterpiece. And when you shift from that, when you question that, when you decide just to create your own labels, you're going to be unsatisfied.
Just
you're
massively
going to be sustained.
Just not being obedient at all.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
However, living free of societal norms, people's opinions, by understanding who you are, living your story, and allowing your narrative to be the only thing that matters.
Yes. And as much as people hear it in the moment, oftentimes we're just so caught up in the noise.
Yeah.
Right? And we know, whether you want to admit it or not, I don't care how good you look, I don't care how nice you dress, I don't care how great of a job you have, when you're not walking in your purpose, when you don't know who you are, you're not living intentionally, you are going to feel that dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it in just so many different ways.
Yeah.
And when we get to a place that we can look ourselves in the mirror and say, this is not what I want anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it is okay to change your mind.
Oh, yes.
You could have wanted that.
You can begin again,
as
many
often
times
as you need to. listen, as many times as you need to. And look, we both said it. That is a real thing.
Yes.
And giving yourself permission, because when you know who you are, you're not worried about the noise. And that's when you really got to stand on the I.
Oh my goodness.
Standing on that I. And you also say,
can I just say one thing? I know we're trying to go forward, and I know, we're on the time limit.
Let's stand in it.
But I also want to say this. You have to give yourself time to unleash.
Fair enough. Yes, that is the true statement.
You don't
wake up one day and be like,
half a century has almost gone by before I realized that your opinion doesn't matter.
Ditto.
I know the whole story.
Right.
I was there, from day one.
Yeah, I lived in it.
Right. I understand every detail. And not just bad things.
Yeah, no.
But the great things. Running a marathon for my 40th birthday. Being just, like you said, promoted in the university system. Being encouraged by people by getting your phone ringing off the hook because somebody else believed in me. Mm-hmm. Those life experiences, if you really lean into them, if you really learn from your failures, they will push you right towards your purpose.
Right.
Because true. You look around and you be like, everything I've ever been through is preparing me for this moment.
Yeah.
And with God being so faithful, you wake up and one day he's like, he never left me.
Right.
He never deceived me. He's always stood by me, even when it was just unbearable.
Right.
And you have no choice then but to just lean into the purpose. Let me try it. And then you get a little measure of success. You're like, let me try it again. Mm-hmm. And by the time you know it, you're living on purpose, in purpose, y'all. That's my motto. Live on purpose, in purpose.
And I love that. And it was worth the pause for it because it had to be said. Mm-hmm. And so many times we forget or we didn't give ourselves permission to know in the first place. Mm-hmm. And it's so critically important that, one, we don't get so caught up in other people's opinions. And I've also leaned into the fact that I don't have to explain myself to everybody. Mm-hmm. I don't need to tell my side of the story.
No.
And you can think what you want because I know the whole story. Yep. And knowing that I'm being faithful to what my purpose is. Yes. And it might not be your purpose. It might not be your purpose, but that's God's will for me. Mm-hmm. And I trust that. Yes. So I appreciate you taking the time to say that because there's somebody out here that's listening right now who needs to know it. And so often when we're sitting in it, we have no idea where we're going. Mm-hmm. And there are moments that you might just be grasping for hope. Yes. And you just don't know. But also, sometimes we're living somebody else's life and we're so busy explaining to everybody else on who we are and what we need to be that we lose ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to focus on ourselves. Yes. And you also talk about betting on yourself.
Absolutely.
So betting on yourself, it seems simple, right? It seems like a simple daily practice, but not everybody can do it. So what are some of the tips that people can do to build that self-confidence and really trust in their own abilities
I love that. That's a good question. To bet on yourself is not an easy task.
Right.
So you really have to work on it.
Mhm.
Athletes, some of our favorites, they work on it.
Right.
They've dedicated their lives to day in and day out doing the drill,
Mhm.
right? So every day, for instance, find 3 things that you love about yourself
Mhm.
and tell yourself.
Right.
Find 3 things that you do well and tell yourself every day, because the noise is always going to magnify what's wrong with the world.
That's
And
correct.
there are plenty haters and unsolicited opinion givers who are going to tell you what's wrong about you. So every day, you must tell yourself what you love about yourself, what makes you so amazing. Say it out loud, shout it, look in the mirror and say it until you believe it. I have an affirmation on my wall, on my mirror in my bathroom every day, and I say it. I say it. And it's amazing over the years how I look now and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the life I'm living.
Yes.
This is the life I'm living. A little example, y'all. Every day I said, every week is going to include a high level strategy session,
Mhm.
enjoyable weekends, golf, and community service. And that's just a part of my affirmation. And I looked around, and before you know it, I had clients doing high level strategy sessions, playing golf, and, community service. And it just, and now it's just a part of my week, my weekly agenda. And so it's, again, tell yourself what you love
Right.
about yourself.
And it seems woo, but that we'll listen to what's wrong and we'll own that. We tell yourself
Quicker than what
what's
you
right.
own,
Yeah,
the
like,
things that are right about you.
That's not even you. Like, why are you listening to that and owning it and absorbing it when you could speak positivity into yourself?
Yeah.
The spoken word of what we tell ourselves, the poetry of our life,
of it all,
right? And
the flow, the rhythm, the pauses,
all of it, right? So, and that's a pivot because you have that little bit, I don't know if anybody's noticed how she, you got bars, you're just dropping bars and it's so poetic.
Alliterations and creation.
Yeah, it's like
sensation.
Like you got this analytical side, but the creative side is like popping up and showing out. And I think there's some power to that. There is power to it because it's power to the word that we tell ourselves. But then we forget as we become adults, we get so uptight and we forget the creativity. We played as children, right? Y'all. We play, we get tired and we forget about the creativity. But that can really help to enhance us because we get to create, I guess some people call it Delulu, but I'm Delulu. But that creativity, right? How do you create? How do you tap that? Yeah, but it's like, listen, I'm like, look, I'll be Delulu, but that creativity, I call it creativity. It comes up and there's something to it, but it does enhance not just our personal lives, but also our professional lives. And your creativity is through spoken word. Yes. And even though you have been speaking the good word throughout our discussion today, that's something that you also have incorporated into your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me just say this. If you're an overachiever, hard worker, boss lady, man, mogul, mentor, you better have a creative outlet.
Yeah. Ooh, noted. Ooh.
Because it's about that self-care. It's just about, like you said, ability to dream, speak, play. Create is so freeing. Y'all remember a long time ago when Oprah had a show, a daytime talk show, and Tyler Perry was on it. He said something, right, that she told him. He said, writing is cathartic. He had trauma going on in his family, and writing it down was helpful to him. It was healthy to him. And y'all, the rest is history, right? Needless to say, we don't have to tell you who Tyler Perry is and how that writing has come to life for all of us through the screen,
whether
theater,
you like it or not, it's a real thing.
Right? And so it allows us to express our emotions, our feelings, Y'all, there is nothing hard than being an entrepreneur, okay? And it gives you an outlet. But also, what I've found is it's given people an in to Natalie. I got to a place where I was posting my poems on my Facebook. Mm-hmm. And people would call me about financial advice. I said, that poem had nothing to do with building a portfolio. Yeah. But they would call me when I was going through my weight loss journey, which I still am. I just don't post it as much. Right. I was posting my exercise videos every day. Now, that's not spoken word, but it's creativity. I was putting it to music. I was creating reels and, with little dewdrops on it and all that kind of stuff. Nice. And people would call me for business. I wasn't doing it for business. I was doing it for me. Right. And I said, if anyone else happens to be inspired by this, by all means. And people were calling, Natalie, I wasn't going to get up this morning, but I saw you running. And so I'm going to run too. Or, oh my gosh, like you're still going and it's been 3 months. And so I think about that when I want to quit, and here you are. But it opens doors. That's right. For people to know that I'm a person that can help them because they see my challenges, they see my tenacity, and it's encouraging.
It is encouraging. And I think we often forget how important it is to be creative and how creativity helps you be open. Yes. And that's actually, I need to write that down for myself. Right. Note to self. I need to do more of that. Mm-hmm. But that openness, again, attracts the right people to you. And it's another way of helping to change people's lives, your professional life, by enhancing your personal life. Yes. Which is very, very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. Now, you also talk about, you shared a bit about your journey and now being a single mother, but single and successful because you are successful. But how do you maintain the balance? There's so much going on. Self-care, anyone? Self-care, anyone?
I'm going to be honest. I didn't do this one well at all. I am single or unmarried now, but I was married. Mm-hmm. For 17 years. And, of course, there are many reasons possibly why we're not married, but perhaps some of that was because the business was my boo.
Right. Side bay.
Or main bay. Right. My son, who is now 20 years old, says, Mom, I remember you in that home office day after day. Hour after hour, just working. You never played with me.
Oh, that's tough.
It is tough, y'all.
That's tough to hear.
It's tough to hear as a 20-year-old that he remembers that. And when I started my business, y'all, he was 3 or 5.
Wow.
Years old. And so again, when people bring me in to speak and they invite me to speak, I said, get the buy-in of your family. Let them know what it's going to take to build a business. Ooh. They may not understand or agree, but let them know I'm doing it for you. Because a lot of times in the entrepreneur's mind, like this, so I can make more money, time, freedom, so I can be with my family. But you got to get there first.
Right. And they don't even realize that.
In my mind, it's for them.
Right.
In my mind. Exactly. But they don't see that.
They don't see it.
All the husband saw is there was one more day I didn't get a dinner. Mm-hmm. There's my son, one more day that you didn't make it to track. Now, I did, y'all. I went to all the sports events. Even alone, I was there, honey. But I didn't do it well. Mm-hmm. And I admit that.
Right.
I admit that. And again, y'all, you got to give yourself grace and time. Fast forward now, I know to take a break.
Right. Right.
I know to go on vacation. Mm-hmm. I know to spend time with my son. And even now, yes, I know how to try to balance the relationship because it's on the way.
Hey, should we lean in? No,
lean in. Yes. So, but I know now.
Right.
So I'm very candid with, budding entrepreneurs and emerging leaders. Put that mask on yourself first. Ooh. Breathe deep. And then hand off your awesomeness to someone else.
I love that. Hand off. Put your mask on, and then hand off your awesomeness to someone else. I'm like, that's a tweetable. Like, what? This book is going to be fire.
Yes.
And that's so important because So let me just say, I always say I never really believed in work-life balance because there was never balance. And even in relationships, there's never 50-50. You know, some days my husband can be 70. I like that. It is a flow.
It's a delicate dance.
It is a dance, and
you gotta
sometimes
know
you
when
step
you're
on your
leading.
foot.
Right. You gotta know when you're leading and know when you're being
I'm
led.
awkward, so like,
Because
yeah,
it's
I'm
never
like,
50-50.
no.
There are days where the project must get done and the hours have to be put in.
Right.
There are days your husband needs you and you gotta close the door, put down the blind, and be attentive. There are days where we just need to sit and say nothing.
And just be still. And I mean,
take a nap.
Listen,
Look, I'm a proponent of a nap.
Yeah.
Give me a nap. Sometimes gotta take a nap. But then sometimes so it's important when you're picking your mate, when when you're with your children, that you give them your all, even if it's that 5. Sometimes it's the 5 minutes. Sometimes it's just an explanation.
Right.
I got 5 good minutes, but you're going to get my undivided attention. And then after that, I got to go and do what allows us to live this life that we live.
Right.
Today. And then next week, we going to Maui. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
but we can't go to Maui if I don't take care of this. Because as a mother of some high maintenance girls, I'm like, okay, I have to do this. We're gonna have the time of our lives in Maui. But if I don't get to the money, we can't get to Maui.
Right.
Because it is a balance, but the communication is key. Just explaining it, and when they need you, the permission to say, if you need me, I will give the attention to you. And all you have to do is raise your hand. I always ask my husband, how's your marriage? How you doing?
Absolutely.
What you need? Communication, or sometimes you can just tell, you're like, all right, let me put this laptop away.
Right.
But there may never be balance, but we're seeking to have some level of at least alignment, maybe.
Alignment.
Yeah.
And excuse me, and understanding. Again, that's why picking the right partner is, important. Communicating to your children that you love them and you are there for them in other ways, knowing their love language so you can give them what they need when they need it. But a good partner is going to help you grow. They're going to help you build. They're going to be understanding, but sometimes that comes with a little, like you said, communication, testing time, and to know that you're always going to come back to them and always going to choose them over
the business. Right. Because the business
which I didn't always
can be side bay or may bay, but it is really about that alignment is key. Like we're working towards the same goal and that balance, but it is a delicate dance.
It is a delicate dance.
And I'm glad you mentioned it.
But you still want it to be a dance, no less.
Yeah.
Some days it's a waltz, some days it's the Cupid shuffle.
Yeah, you're like, let's dance.
But so try to dance in there.
I love that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you also mentioned is the importance of we got to trust God to define who you are.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the ways that you could, people want to live authentically, they want to trust God, but what are some of the practical ways that they can start aligning their actions with their true selves, right? So trust God on the journey, but sometimes people don't know about this alignment and this journey. What are some of the things that you have done, or what could you share?
I alluded to it before, and I'll definitely dig a little deeper into it. The creator understands the creation. The masterpiece was made by the master. He knows the blueprint. And if you would allow me to challenge your listeners, pray and ask God for the plan for your life. And listen. Because every part of your journey, whether it's great or not so great in the moment, is a clue to that purpose and to living in that purpose. And I think what we don't understand is even during the hard times, even during the calamities, the failures, the failed business deals, when you are living according to the blueprint, there is something that's always going to inspire you and bring you back to center.
Yes.
Because when you are living in God's plan on God's time, the end is already given. We don't know it. But it's already set before you, and it's already declared that it's going to be good. And so when life is taking us from, because life doesn't go A to B to C to point D, y'all. It goes A to D, the G, the F, back to C.
Sometimes it feels like it's going to be a Z.
Back to
then
C.
You're like, oh, wait,
then
here comes C.
And so in that, if you are understanding of the blueprint for your life, something about it makes you keep getting up every morning, knowing that the end is sure. It's in his hand, and it's a good life. It's a good life.
It really is.
It really is.
It really is. Even in those dark moments, I always say, sometimes I'll just be still. And I'm like, all right, Lord, what are you trying to do?
Right.
What's really good right now?
That's
like
the cup in my office.
Yeah,
I'm a little antsy. I'm a little antsy. I'm a little ADD sometimes.
Like,
that's
help.
the cup. That's the mug.
Right.
That's my coffee mug. It says be still.
Be still. I like that.
I have to look at it every day.
Because that sometimes we need to just the presence of God. And if people, I mean, listen, for you're a believer or not, that stillness is important. That's why people meditate. That's why sometimes you just want to be still and hear what is God's plan. It's not supposed to be difficult. Like when life is all unbalanced and weird, you're not in alignment.
And listen, don't get all bent out of shape. Ooh, this is the Christian show. Let me turn it off. No, this is a human show. Yeah. People living on purpose.
Thank you, Natalie.
We are all human, and you came from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's why I challenge. I say, I'm challenge you. Pray. I don't care if you don't believe, because God is not scared by your unbelief, and He still wants a good life for you.
Right.
In spite of what you believe.
In spite of what you believe.
And so I challenge your listeners, pray and listen, be still and listen for the plan. And it's amazing how clearly the plan unfolds.
Yes. And I'm going to add what I have on my
hold on.
And one believe.
Second thing to pray, and the courage
to
believe the plan and to run after that blueprint.
There we go.
The courage.
Because
that's where people get derailed.
That's where, and they just...
Because it's a big plan.
Yeah.
Some of y'all got some great things in store, and you just scared of like, oh, that's too big. That can't be me. That cannot be my blueprint. It is yours. So ask for the courage to run after that big thing. Because it is big, but it's not yours. It's not yours to initiate or execute. It's yours to get in there and believe, but it's Him that's going to bring it to pass. God.
So I love that. And I love that your journey is just a testament to that. Yeah. You know, you have really just focused on just being nothing short of remarkable, by the way. And I love how you talk about your childhood dreams of becoming a boss, right? To then you went on, you became the tax lady, and then you're the money lady. But you really have shown us you are a true testimony of what it means to live life unleashed. You've navigated career changes. You've started your own business. Two businesses. You've overcome those personal challenges, the pain, and tapped into your creative side. You've done poetry and your podcast, but through it all, you are who you say you are. You've demonstrated resilience, adaptability, and this commitment to growth, unapologetically, may I add. So what are some of the things, as we're wrap it up, one of the things I would like to hear from you is, we always talk about on the Unleashed Life, like there's opportunities, there's always room for growth, another summit to climb. When I always say the best is yet to come, what does that mean for you, for your clients, for the future, whatever, however you want to answer? What is the best is yet to come for Natalie?
The best is yet to come simply means, y'all, marrying your happiness to your unhappiness, your joys to your pain, your triumphs to your failures, and seeing it through to the end. What good is it to go through life and not use those things that have strengthened you to build fortitude in you and not use them for anything and see where it's going to lead you. Try it. Do it. Get in there and experience it. There was a CEO named Reginald Lewis of Beatrice Foods, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
He died when he was 50 years old. Not a tragedy, though. Hold on. And some people would even say he did more in a century than most people are going to do in all their life. But one of the foundations, one of my mantras is a quote that he stated, which was, no matter what, just keep going. No matter what, just keep going, because every day is going to look different, y'all. Some days you're going to accomplish a lot and some days you're going to accomplish a little.
Mm-hmm.
But know and trust, if you're living by that blueprint, that the best is coming. Living that unleashed life means marrying the joy to the pain, the sunshine to the rain. Yes, I stole it.
Okay.
But to know that greater is coming from the waters that were produced from the tears.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. You are a true inspiration. I can talk to you for hours, and you have left our listeners with a lot to think about. Thank you for being such a positive example of what it means to live out loud, to live unleashed. And to all the listeners here, hopefully you picked up something that's tangible to you that could help you push through, because life is going to life no matter what, as you heard, through the fire and through the rain and through the pain. I'm not going to get all like poetry and rain. I love it.
Thank you for having me.
It is
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
trusting me with your listeners.
Oh, yes. And unapologetically, you are such a light in everything that you do. And I'm so grateful to know you and for your friendship. So listen, everyone, you've heard it from Natalie. Just do something every day to get better. And I want you to continue to be great, shine bright, and keep living life unleashed. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on The Unleashed Life. I hope today's episode has inspired you to break free from financial constraints and societal expectations, cultivating a mindset of abundance and possibility. Remember, living unleashed means aligning your financial decisions with your personal values and embracing authenticity in both your career and personal life. It's about progress, not perfection, as we journey towards financial empowerment and the lifestyle we truly deserve. If you found today's episode to be of value, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast. Your support helps us reach more women ready to unleash their potential. And don't miss out on exclusive content and insights by signing up for our monthly newsletter at reneebaker.com. It's packed with actionable tips to help you continue your unleashed journey between episodes. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and join our vibrant online community to share your own unleashed moments and connect with like-minded individuals. Until next time, keep breaking barriers, embrace your beautiful, authentic self, and live life unleashed. Remember, it's never too late to rewrite your financial story and step into your power with purpose. As always, be great, and the best is yet to come.